What's up, Fitchburg Falcons and friends tuning in? I'm Joe Flanagan, and welcome back to my kitchen. Now today, you're in for a treat, because we're going to be working with one of the most versatile ingredients in the culinary world, and that is the potato. Because today, we're going to be making potato pancakes, aka hash browns. Now how did I come up with this idea? I'm so glad you asked. Well, I was originally looking up recipes of things that I could do with leftover mashed potatoes, because let's be honest, there's nothing worse than cold, dense, leftover mashed potatoes, and I had plenty of them after my Easter dinner. So, this past weekend, I found this crazy recipe, and they were delicious. However, since I've already consumed said leftover mashed potatoes, I'm going to be showing you how to do it today from scratch, hot off the potato. But please know, what you see today, you can also use with your lonely and forgotten leftover mashed potatoes. Alright, now let's do a quick inventory of what we're going to need today. First, a cutting board, a mixing bowl, a spatula. This is not a spatula, this is a frying pan. This is a spatula, which you're also going to need. A potato peeler if you're starting from scratch, a knife, and that cheese grater we all know and love. And don't worry, if you don't have some of these items, we can talk about alternatives. Let's get to the ingredients, shall we? So, the star of this show is obviously the potato. So if you have leftover mashed potatoes, you're going to need about 3 cups of mashed potatoes, and let them come to room temperature before you start working on this project. Otherwise, if you're starting from scratch, you're going to need about 3 cups of shredded potato. So I'm starting with 3, but always add more or use less based on what you get from that. We're also going to be dabbling with some onion and some pepper. Fancy. And for the mixing components, you're going to need 3 tablespoons of flour, about a half a cup of breadcrumbs, a cup of shredded cheese, and let's be real folks, you can always add way more cheese if you want to. Some salt and pepper to taste, a single egg, and some vegetable oil for your pan. And then you're also going to want to set aside about a half a cup of flour to give you that nice coating that's going to make this potato pancake so fantastic. You can put whatever you want in this once you mix it together. You can throw in some bacon, some ham, some green onions, some broccoli, spinach, whatever floats your boat. Toss it on in there, mix it up, and there's your patty. Back to the ingredients we're using today. As you can see, I've sliced my onion and my pepper. As far as amounts, I just took 1 girthy slice off of an onion and chopped it up real good, and then 2 sides of a pepper, and you can save the rest for later. But the key here is to chop them up small. You don't want anything too big and chunky in your mixture, so whatever you use, slice it and dice it finely. Now for the potatoes. If you are starting from scratch like I am today, you're going to want to turn your cheese grater onto this setting. And you're going to grab your potato and you're going to run it down until it's down to a nub and you've got a nice pile of fluffy shaved potato. And if you don't have a cheese grater, the key here is to do thin slices and then chop them up so it's very fine pieces of potato. Now kick back and relax while I grate these potatoes. We are back, and there's nothing more satisfying than grating a potato, let me tell you. But you might need a pair of goggles because the juices were flying. But don't worry, I made it out all right. Let's take this potato party over to the mixing bowl. Alright, we are at the mixing bowl. So as you can see, or maybe not, but I've added my potatoes, and beneath this little love pillow of potato is the cheese, onion, and pepper. And now we're going to add in our 3 tablespoons of flour and our breadcrumb. I'm not going to use all of it just yet because it's all about the feel, and we'll get there. So use a little bit to start, and then we can always revisit that once we get to the next phase. And then I'm going to add my salt and pepper and my egg. But no one wants to see me do that with one hand, so I'll catch you in a minute. One other thing, in terms of spices, if you want to go to your spice rack and give a little flair of something, feel free. I'm personally going to go rogue and add a little bit of garlic powder because garlic makes everything better. Back to the mixing bowl. As you can see, I have taken a fork and combined our mixture and stirred it nice and good. And don't judge a book by its cover because yes, I am aware that this looks like cat vomit. However, it's going to taste delicious. Now, what are we going to do with it? Now, for those of you that took the mashed potato route, what you're going to want to do is first wash your hands, and then you're going to dip your hand in, get a little scoop, then you're going to roll it into a ball, and it's just like rolling a meatball, except it's a potato ball. So you do that till it's nice and compact, and then you go to your nice dry cutting board, and you press it into a little patty, just about the size of a sausage patty. Or actually, you can play with the size and make whatever you'd like. The world is your patty. Alright, here we are at the cutting board, and as you can see, I have formed my patties. And for those of you who started from scratch, I found that I had to use a lot more breadcrumb than the original half cup. Really, you just want to be enough to form a shape and hold together without falling apart or being sticky or just all over the place. So add enough breadcrumb until you feel that you've got the sense of control that you need. If some of you were looking at that like, damn, that's a big patty. Well, the reason I made them extra beefy is because they're going to be the foundation of my dinner tonight. However, normally you can stretch this to make between 8 or 10 potato patties, depending on the size you're looking for. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these Mama Jammas and put them in the flour. You're going to want to put it on one side and then flip it so it's on the other side, evenly coating flour across the whole patty. And if you find that you're having a hard time peeling this off the cutting board, that could be an indicator that you need more breadcrumb. Look at your patties, all freshly floured. They're looking great. And now, it's time to cook them. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of that oil that we had earlier, and we're going to put it in our frying pan, just enough to coat the bottom, and you're going to want to turn it on medium-high heat, and then you want to let the oil get nice and hot before you drop your patty on. And in goes the patty. Unlike baking, you can't really set it and forget it. You have to be attentive to your frying pan. And when you put it in, you know the oil's ready when you get a nice little sizzling action going on the bottom. I'm probably going to let this sit for a few minutes, since it's a little girthier than the ones you might be making, but a few minutes on each side. And one way to check this is by taking your spatula. Let me grab mine to demonstrate. You're going to slide it under and then lift it up, check out the bottom. And once you got that nice golden brown color, it's time to flip. And when you're flipping, watch out for those little grease splashes. It'll get you. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't that look delightful? That nice golden crispy outside and the nice yummy inside. So I'm cooking the other side right now, and once I flip it again, and once the outsides look the way I want them, I could flip them just once, twice more to get a little cooking on each side one more time. In the meantime, grab yourself a plate and line it with some paper towels or napkins, because in a few minutes when your patty's done, you're going to transport that patty to said plate, and the paper towel will just soak up some of that excess oil and grease. Alright, let's get back to cooking. I'll see you soon. They're done. Let's take a look at the finished product. Aren't they glorious? Oh, just look at them. I'm drooling just looking at them right now. I hope you feel just as proud when you complete your potato pancake. Now, let's talk about all the wonderful things you can do with this potato pancake, which is pretty much anything you want. You can have it with eggs, you can have it for breakfast, you can put some sour cream on there, or some apple cinnamon sauce. You can even put a cheeseburger on it. You can have it for a sandwich. You can do anything you want! What I'm gonna do is put a nice bed of sauteed spinach on it, and have a piece of salmon on top of that for dinner. And it's gonna be delightful. While you're sitting there contemplating all the amazing things you can do with your potato pancake, don't forget about that crusty frying pan. It's caked in oil and flour, and it's gross. So put that in the sink, put some soap on it and some hot water and let it sit there, and that'll make your cleaning much easier later. You'll thank yourself. Back to the potato pancakes. Would you just look at them? I can't. I'm not gonna take a bite with you just yet, since I'm saving mine for dinner, but I hope you enjoy yours It's been great seeing you again and having you back. Until next time, you keep it classy, Fishberg.